Okay, this is part 2 from Prevent and Reverse Obesity by me, Pete Rogers. There was a section, I'm kind of going to skip most of it, on the trade-offs of fruits. Basically, there's some good things about eating fruits, some bad things about them. I know there's a lot of young, skinny, active people who love them. The Mastering Diabetes love eating lots of fruits. And I have seen a lot of skinny, healthy people. You'll hear all kinds of talk about that. Durian Rider, Freely the Banana Girl, and all this stuff. But I've also seen people that have problems eating fruits as they get older and they don't exercise as much. And Dr. McDougall used to say you should limit your servings of fruit to 2 per day. He worried that they'd make people gain weight. There's the whole papers of Richard Johnson, and I know Lustig totally exaggerates, but there are some issues with fructose. But it's especially the high fructose corn syrup, like in soda pop and whatnot. It's bad to drink your calories, and processed food and processed soda drinks are really bad for obesity and increasing risk of type 2 diabetes. I do think we have color vision so we can see when fruits are ripe. Okay, here's just one paper showing that people who were eating 4 servings or more per day of fruits had increased insulin resistance, elevated liver function tests, fatty liver, okay? There's no fruitarian population. So I do eat about 35% of my calories from fruits, but I exercise a lot. Well, I'd say a moderate amount, not as much as I want to, and I got to work all the time. So anyways, just one paper there, in case you're wondering, are there any papers show there's potentially a problem with fruits? Here's a picture of when I was a star McDougall many years ago. I had gotten fat when I was doing too much in 1 year during a fellowship. I wrote a textbook, Imaging Guided Surgery, had a baby at home with the wife, wasn't sleeping enough. I was drinking 7 cups of coffee a day. I published a couple procedure manuals and CT MRI protocol manuals and imaging guided surgery manuals. So I was doing a tremendous amount of work. I was doing 2 fellowships simultaneously. Anyways, I ballooned up to 220 pounds, which is a lot for me. I'm only 5'9". And so what I did was I knew that I was in trouble, that I was having trouble losing the weight for about 3 years. I couldn't do it with willpower. I bought a new house. This was actually my dream house where there's a big outdoor pool, a giant fenced-in yard, place to exercise in the backyard, basketball court in the backyard. I basically built like a tennis court in the backyard for a real cheap price. And I built a basketball court inside the house, a racquetball court. Anyways, that was my dream house. I was able to do it all real cheap. Anyways, I just tell you that because I lost all the weight and I got real healthy again. Studying McDougall's starch solution ideas helped me to, lose the last 20, 25 pounds and keep it all off. I've kept it off now over 20 years. I was initially a lacto-vegetarian. Now I'm a vegan for about 7 years. So anyways, my weight went down to 155. Now it's about 165, but I'm in real good shape. I was a little bit too skinny, I felt, at first. All right. Let's see. What am I getting at here? Unfatting myself. I'm not going to get into all this Bible stuff. I sometimes will throw in Bible quotes and talk. I like this quote of Arnold Toynbee. He says, "The brotherhood of men depends on acknowledging the fatherhood of God." Arnold Toynbee, great historian. Yeah, unless people do that, things are never going to be good. Okay, here's rule number 3 for optimizing your body weight. No animal foods. No animal foods means no meat at all, none, no fish, no chicken, no dairy. All animal food has got different type of protein composition, more methionine, more leucine. It tends to have more iron, tends to have more phosphorus. There's no fiber. There's no carbohydrate other than the milk. You don't want to eat animal foods. You want to go zero on them. Like an alcoholic quits cold turkey on alcohol, a cigarette smoker quits cold turkey on animal. You'll minimize your risk of leaky gut, of autoimmune disease, of amyloid clotting. It'll just drop your systemic inflammation. Your white blood cell count will drop. Everything will improve. And again, like I said, I could care less about animal rights. I think most animal rights people, most of them, the majority of them are scumbags, phony environmentalists who are all part of this movement to, control the population, the number of people, and they have a secret, covert agenda that I'm not happy with. I like the farmers, and I want the meat industry to continue because they're going to give us a backup food supply. It's very common. If you read a little bit of history, you'll see it's very common whenever there's a cow, then the moon, then the east movement. They always try to starve, the Christians into DEA, then what comes next, TH. That's routine. It's routine. It's their standard playbook for crying out loud. Okay, my father's from Ireland. Look what happened in the 1840s, what the English did to the to the Irish, okay? Look what they did to Ukraine in the 1930s, okay? Look what they did in a whole bunch of other countries. This is standard playbook material. So these animal rights environmentalists, they're just trying to get rid of the meat supply so it won't be there as a backup when they get rid of the plant food supply. They were trying to do that last year, but luckily, we got the new guy in place, and hopefully he's going to do a better job. We'll see. So yeah, no animal foods. Dairy also causes constipation. It's a main risk factor for type 1 diabetes, for type 2 diabetes. Dr. McDougall's been writing about this for a long time, type 1 diabetes and dairy. T. Colin Campbell writes about it in his China study. There's plenty of papers on it, and others write about it as well. Dairy just increases the risk of all the autoimmune diseases like MS, etc. Dairy is not good for you, okay? It increases the risk of osteoporosis, increases the risk of prostate cancer. The purpose of it is to make a cow grow fast, so it's not going to help you to lose weight. The 3 macronutrients are carbohydrate, fat, and protein. And the only one you need in big amounts is carbohydrate. The little amount of fat and protein you get in low-fat plant foods is all you need, okay? The Garth Davis book on Proteinaholic was quite good. In my opinion, he's a real smart guy, talented guy, and he wrote a great book, Proteinaholic, but, lately he's promoting olive oil, which is BS. In my opinion, I think he sold out. There's big money in doing that, okay? I don't know how much he gets, but I would predict it's a lot. Walter Kempner was feeding his patients only about 0.3 grams per kilogram per day. That's a very low protein diet, like what you would feed an end-stage kidney failure patient to keep him off dialysis. And I wasn't aware of him giving his patients any protein supplements. The point I'm making is forget about protein deficiency. It's impossible to be too low in protein on any naturally chosen diet. I think the RDA recommendations of 0.8 grams per kilogram per day are way, way, way too high. And I think even a low protein diet is more than you need, 0.6 grams per kilogram per day. So it's a non-issue. As Dr. McDougall had said, in his 50 years of practice, he never ever saw a single patient with protein deficiency, not one. Never saw a calcium deficiency, dietary calcium deficiency patient. Nathan Pritikin also spoke about how it's impossible to be too low in dietary protein or dietary fat or dietary calcium as well, pretty much. I didn't hear him specifically say dietary calcium, but I do remember him writing all about the Bantus and how they had very low calcium intake. And despite the Bantu women having, 10 babies and nursing them for 3 years, they didn't have a problem with osteoporosis. Pritikin also mentioned some studies where people were feeding starvation patients only 2.5% of calories from protein, and they did very well. Pritikin's a great writer. He's very clear, logically, systematically goes through the papers. You can watch his videos if you type in for Nathan Pritikin. I did some YouTube videos on him, and I linked to some of the other ones. You'll just find him. You can still see his lectures. The guy was a real genius. Okay, of course, no oil, and that means no olive oil. The name is ridiculous, extra virgin. It sounds like it's your new bride going to please you in bed. It's better off using it as a lubricant than eating it, okay? It's toxic stuff. It's bad for blood flow, makes you fat. It's an obesogen, increases your risk of diabetes, diabetogen, okay? I'm going to stop there for today. Hope you found that helpful.